Hello and welcome to Reporters on France 24. With the war in Ukraine far from over, the situation in Transnistria, the breakaway region of Moldova, remains far from certain. Numerous attacks have been reported in the last few weeks. The pro-Russian territory has claimed its independence since the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Transnistria is strategic, located between Moldova and Ukraine. Now, since Russia's invasion began, the West has suspected Transnistria's government of backing the Russian army. The region is also located near the strategic Ukrainian port city of Odesa on the Black Sea. The West has accused Russia, which has troops stationed inside, of recently fanning tensions. France 24's team traveled to the breakaway region before the situation started to shift. They gained rare access as journalists are almost never allowed inside. Now, before we watch the report, we can bring in Lauriane Dherbecourt. Good to have you with us. Now, what inspired you to film this report?
So I immediately thought about this territory just before the war started because of its particular position, strategic position, just beyond Ukraine and between Ukraine and Moldova. And for me, it was just logical that Russia would like to do the junction with this territory to approach the European borders. So my question was, what does this government want and what does the people there want? Do they want to be attached to Russia or not?
Okay, let's take a look at the report now.
So guys, let's go to the tank.
A guided tour like no other, in a country like no other.
The tank is standing here since 1968.
Since 2011, Andrei Smolensky has been organizing Soviet tours for the tourists who visit Transnistria.
We'd like to learn a little bit more about this place beyond the few things we see on the internet about the country that doesn't exist.
This is Transnistria, a tiny separatist enclave between Moldova and Ukraine that declared its independence after the fall of the USSR. Despite repeated requests, it's never been recognized by the international community, and yet it still functions as a state.
Here, guys, you can see the parliament and government building. It's from 1983, the building itself. Lenin statue is from 1987 here. The flag of Transnistria, the flag of Russia.
As soon as you cross the border, you realize that although it is ethnically the same, the language is different, and it's not the same lifestyle.
Life in Transnistria seems to be frozen in the Soviet past. In the larger cities, the remnants of the USSR are visible on every street corner. History plays a special role in the lives of the 470,000 Russian-speaking inhabitants of the country. Aside from the struggle against Nazi Germany, it was the separatist war with Moldova in 1992 that's left the greatest mark on these people. A conflict that only lasted a few weeks but caused several thousand deaths. Events that are commemorated every year on this square. Transnistria's security continues to be overseen by 1,500 Russian soldiers, but the tiny state still tries to stand on its own. While the country trades with the whole world, all its products must be labelled as Moldovan and not Transnistrian. An unjust situation, according to Minister of Foreign Affairs Vitaly Ignatiev.
At the moment, Moldova is blocking the supply of medicines, food and fertilizers for our agricultural producers. These are elements of the blockade and the main obstacle that prevents us from living and developing freely.
The country may not officially exist, but most of its inhabitants still hold deep patriotic feelings. 36-year-old Sasha is a security guard in a restaurant. Like many others, he lives in a neighborhood defined by the Soviet era.
There are so many nationalities living here. Russians, Moldovans, Ukrainians, Bulgarians, everyone. This is a republic of many nationalities. We're home, Mum.
You finally returned.
Every evening since the conflict in Ukraine started, Sasha has been watching Russia 1, a Russian public channel where the presenters are unambiguous in their support for Vladimir Putin's actions.
War, always the war in Ukraine. It never ends.
Yes, it's terrible.
Everyone has parents, loved ones or relatives over there. It's a very emotional subject that I follow closely.
Emotions that are nourished 24 hours a day by the official Russian networks.
Никакого геноцида украинского народа. Идет преднамеренный геноцид русского населения.
Спрашивать, как бы я хотел, чтобы она разрешилась.
If you ask me how I would like the problem to be solved, I would like peace and harmony, so that the Moldovan Republic of Transnistria becomes independent or, in the best case scenario, part of the Russian Federation. That's how I see it.
Everybody here wants the war to end. While most of the population says they are pro-Russian, there are those who have not chosen the Kremlin side. In Bender, the second largest city in the country, Alexander works as a maths teacher. This opponent of Vladimir Putin has been highly active on social media since the start of the conflict.
Щоб повернути людям все, що вони втратили, і дати їм нову основу в житті.
I really like this guy.
Alexander is sharing Ukraine news for a reason.
Просто у нас в регионе традиционно всегда считалось,
In our region, everybody is focused on the Russian Federation.
на Российскую Федерацию, как бы, и всегда считалось, что это.
Everybody thought, and I also believed for a long time, that Russia was taking care of us and helping us.
Россия нам помогает, потому что даже тем,
A lot of people only watch Russian news channels and have a biased worldview.
и у них немного другая картинка мира.
But many people don't want to accept this reality.
Воспринимать эту.
If they did, their worldview would collapse.
Вот их мир, их мироощущение.
It's very painful, and I understand it.
Это очень больно. Я понимаю.
However, Alexander remains confident that the government will manage to stay out of the war. Others have lost this hope and are thinking of running away to what they consider the motherland. Tatiana is an English teacher. At 46 years old, she has never left her neighborhood. In 1992, as a teenager, she watched the Moldovans attack from the top of her building.
We also have seen, I don't know this English name, so from right side to the left. It was happening not one night, one, the second, the third, and you are living like here in this fear for 3 months. 3 months. Bombing, bombing, bombing.
Tatiana says it's out of the question to go through the same nightmare again.
So I got a message, a very strange and awful message. I will translate it to you, you can read it. Hello, Bastas, something like this. So my name is Alexander Alexandrovsky. I'm a Moldavian nationalist. I left some bombs at your school, and I sent some bombs to the people who are attending this school. So glory to Moldova and death to Russians.
Fact or fiction, this type of message is deeply frightening for Tatiana and her son. She's decided to sell the family flat and move to St. Petersburg, where her eldest daughter lives.
This is the last things which we have to pack. So we just pack like they are because we have no time. Oh, by the way, this is my mom's passport. It is still available. You can see this is USSR passport. So she still uses this passport. This passport is available only in Transnistria and Moldavian Republic, only here. This is the last Soviet country in the world. We still are a communist country.
Tatiana is proud of her Soviet education. Her mother, Galina, a French teacher, says she feels betrayed by Russia since the Ukrainian invasion.
I'm tired of the war. I always liked Putin. I respected him. I considered him very intelligent, but this idea that the enemy is not far from our borders, it really got to me. I'm not against the Russians. I'm against death. But it's the Russians making people die.
With its citizens divided on who is responsible for the conflict, the country is torn between East and West. Transnistria has recently been accused of acting as a rear base for the Russian military. Its government denies it. This separatist territory refuses to have anything to do with the war, but it may have no choice. Shortly after our team left, a statement by a Russian general raised tensions in the region. The general clearly stated Moscow's ambitions to conquer the whole of southern Ukraine so that the Russian army can join up with Transnistria. Days after the statement, a string of unclaimed attacks targeted places such as official buildings and Russian radio towers. After these events, we wanted to know what had happened to the people we met during filming. Sasha, the security guard, has not been mobilized, but is following the situation with concern and is preparing for the worst.
Well, if hostilities really break out, we'll have to do something. We have a small army. We will defend ourselves with our own forces. We'll defend ourselves as long as we can. I think that's how it will be. We hope to get help from Russia, of course. We'll see. I'd like to believe in the best, but nobody will abandon Transnistria. The people of Transnistria will not accept it.
Tatiana, her children and mother Galina have now all left Transnistria.
I feel doubts because from one side we are depressed and we have to leave our house. I'm so happy that we have done it because I was trying to do it for 3 days.
Until the big move to Russia is ready, Tatiana and her family will be staying with friends in northern Moldova. Whatever the outcome of the war, Transnistria and its inhabitants are not likely to have much control over their destiny. Its singular history will continue to be written at the whim of neighboring powers and their interests.
Now, Lauriane, what's interesting in your report is despite the divisions inside the territory, a large part of the population have this desire for peace and independence. Given that, can Transnistria survive on its own?
So this is a big question because if they want to stand for themselves, it has to be economically true. So they are trading with the West and the East. They are developing a lot of things, but they are still depending of the gas, of Russian gas, and Moldova is still paying the bill. So the future of Transnistria is uncertain. it wants is independence, but we don't know what's going to happen with the war happening. And the future of Odesa will be a very important point for the future of Transnistria.
Indeed. Thank you very much for that, Lauriane. And that's it for this edition of Reporters. From all of us on the team, thank you very much for watching.